goalkeeper Drake Callender. We'll start with questions first with Michelle Kaufman.
Drake, obviously, I mean, 7 saves, 8, whatever it was, and a sensational game Phil was just talking about. Can you just talk in general, how does it feel to have such a big game, but be on a 5-game losing streak? Just what's your mentality right now, and also what's the mentality of the team right now? What's the mood in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's a little frustrating because you work so hard, and you kind of leave everything on the field and you don't get the result, and that's the reality of being a pro athlete, is that in these games, you go into the game with a good mentality, and you may not know what's going to happen, but for our team and for me as well, I feel that, we prepare properly, we recover properly, and we get to game day and we work our asses off. And sometimes, that's just how the game goes. But I think our team is, of course, it's not easy to lose 5 games, but we just have to be grounded in the process of showing up the next day and giving it our all, because we can't dwell on moments like this. And we have to, have a short memory and just move on to the next one. And it's difficult to do because we feel it, day in, day out. We work really, really hard to get to game day, and, to come away without a win or any points at home is tough, and that's where the mentality has to be strong and the culture has to be strong, because if it's not, then we're just gonna, stay where we're at. So we have to take accountability, all of us, and we have to keep moving forward.
We're gonna go to Ian, then Franco.
Thanks, Rafa. Hey, Drake, you're always a pretty positive guy. I think that tonight you sort of saw a little bit of the frustration boiling. Guys like DeAndre, of all people, really started to get frustrated. Where do you talk to him, sit him down, or just across the team, sort of keep that positive attitude in the face of adversity? You've been here before. You wound up making the playoffs after something like this last year. So how do you talk to the guys and continue to keep that positive attitude with 2 weeks off now?
Yeah. So I think emotion is natural. I think, as a pro athlete, you get very emotional in these games. Frustration's natural. So all these things, I think, are a product of the experiences we have on the field. And whether that frustration is coming from what we can't control or what we can control, I think the focus has to be on what we can control. It's easy to get frustrated, something that you have no power over, And so I think that's something that I can amplify throughout our locker room, is focusing on what we can control in order to give us an advantage going forward.
We're going to go to Franco here.
Drake, if we look at this game and the 4 games before it, losses for different reasons, you could analyze each one and come up with different reasons for each game. Each game's different, but bigger picture, taking a step back and looking at the 5-game losing streak in general, what's your analysis of it? What are you guys not doing well enough to get some points?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you need goals to win games, and so that is a whole team effort. It's not just the strikers, it's not just the midfielders, it's the entire team. And it's easy to point fingers, and that's the last thing you want to have in a locker room, is you didn't do this or you didn't do that. It's a team effort. And every attacking play starts with the back line. It's from the goalkeeper onward. And same with defense. It starts with the 9 and down. And so that is a whole team effort. And I know the quality we have in our locker room. There's a lot of players in our locker room that are really, really good. I experience it in training every day. I mean, as much as I'm able to perform out here, the reason why I'm so good is because I have guys who are really good in training, pushing me to be my best.
Hi, Drake. Talking about the locker room, you guys have different personalities, different standards, different costumes. How do you take that locker room after 5 defeats in a row? And do you think that 2 weeks that you have off now will help you guys to get better?
Yeah, I think having a diverse locker room is an advantage, because everyone can bring something different to the table. Guys lead in different ways. Guys are in different parts of their careers. Some players have experienced moments in seasons like this before. So I think it's easy to hide from these things. And so I think with the experience that we have in our locker room and the different identities and the different personalities, I think that we'll get through this just fine.
We're going to go to Xavier, and then last question at the back.
Drake, after 5 defeats in a row, tough one at home, in that locker room, who is the leader or who are the leaders that talk and keep this team together and try to keep the confidence?
I mean, I think everyone leads in a different way. Some lead by example, some lead through their voice. DeAndre has had a really strong voice in our locker room, and I think he has helped us get a good perspective of where we're at and what we need to do and how we need to perform, being accountable to each other. And I think that's, extremely grateful to have that kind of experience from him to share with us. And so that goes into other players as well. It's not just DeAndre having a voice. I mean, I think a lot of players have a voice in our locker room, and it's easy to not say something. It's easy just to hold it in. And so whenever guys have something to say, I think it's heard by everyone. And it's a difficult way to lead because you're kind of putting yourself out there. But I think the diverse players that we have in our locker room, maybe some are more vocal, some aren't more vocal, and I think that's fine, just as long as everyone's on the same page moving forward.
Last question. Back.
Drake, losing streak aside, tonight's performance by you was, the latest in, a long line of developing into one of the premier goalies in this league. What are your overall thoughts on, how you've developed as a player up to this point?
Yeah. I mean, you look at my performances, and I can't say I've had a perfect performance this season, but I always try and approach each game with the same mindset, with the confidence that I have from all the reps I do in training. And I think as a goalkeeper, it can be tough because you can do everything in your power to try and win the game, and sometimes you don't get the result. So I think just understanding that in a season like this, it's really a marathon, and my role on the team is to be a leader, to do everything I can to keep the ball out of the back of the net. And I think if I stick to my core values of work ethic, attitude, having good energy, then I think that will get shown on the field. And so that's something that I try and approach each game with, is just those core values and allowing myself to be present and in the moment when it comes game time, so then I only have to be where the game is on. I don't need to be anywhere else.
Thank you, Drake, and thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I feel good. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of both.